And hello everyone, Chief Sean here back for another wonderful video. Oh, thank you for the share, Michael Lindy, my fellow Facebook streamer. Go ahead and check him out. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. It was a rather small holiday for me with everything going on in the world. We kind of kept our families a little separate this year, but we still had a very nice holiday with very more smaller immediate family than doing a lot of stuff with the extended family. But today, as part of my series of getting back into streaming, we're gonna be talking about what's your favorite class and what's your favorite subclass for each whatever your favorites are. And I'm going to go over the favorites of mine in each category, and I would love to hear what your favorite classes are to play and specific subclasses. So let's go ahead and we're going to get right into it here with the help of the trusty old internet. Okay, so here we got one of my favorite sites. It's the D&D 5e Wikidot, which I use for a lot of background information and some quick live. When I'm actually role playing live, I'm able to get a lot of quick information out of this site for spells, classes, and so forth, instead of rummaging through a book at the time. So we're going to start the list going straight down, even in order in the player's handbook. And I'm going to start off with our lovely barbarians. Barbarians, as everybody know, are considered like fierce, primitive warriors who have the ability to rage in combat to gain certain resistances, do a little extra damage in combat, but they consistently have to be either taking damage or giving damage, and consistently be going after the enemy in these particular cases, or they lose that ability. Um, just like just about every class in the game, what makes the barbarian even more powerful is determining what subclass you're going to play. And a lot of subclasses in the game usually start around level 3. There's of course a few exceptions like clerics, I think wizards, sorcerers. They're subclasses, or they're named differently. Like clerics have domains, wizards have schools, druids have rangers have conclaves, druids have circles. But starting around 2 to level 3 is when you get to choose this particular subclass, and then from there it gives your character a little more direction and a little more flavor. And we're going to look quickly at my favorite. For the barbarian, they call them primal paths, and that for me is the ancestral guardian. Um, I like the ancestral guardian because when I think barbarian personally, I think about I almost think about like Vikings. I love the Vikings. In Norse mythology, where most of the games I'm going to be running going forward are going to be in a particular world, surrounded, using Norse mythology as its core. And to me, I feel like the ancestral guardian path is more of a instead of a mechanic, because a lot of people pick their subclasses based off of mechanics. I like this because I just feel it's more of a better role play mechanic to even a physical mechanic. So when you reach your third level, which in this particular case is when for barbarians, when you choose their primal path, when they rage, spectral warriors of their ancestors appear and help you in battle. Um, first ability of the creature you hit with an attack on your turn becomes a target of the warriors, which hinder their attack. So, at the starting next turn, the target has disadvantage on any tackles against you, and when the target hits a creature other than you with the attack, that creature has resistance to the damage of the target's attack. This is very helpful, even though the barbarian's already getting bonus resistance to basic types of damage, slashing, bashing, piercing, and so on. They're now the enemies that they're going after are now getting disadvantage against them, which is advantage and having a disadvantage against yourself is extremely helpful in 5e. With the advantage and disadvantage um, what's what I'm looking for? A mechanic. Um, well, in this particular case, it's going to help more with your party members because it's almost like a taunt. Because you hit the enemy, if they don't concentrate on you, they're going to get disadvantage on attacking any other creature. Um, then you got at level 6, they get their Spirit Shield. Beginning at 6th level, the Guardian Spirit that aids you provides supernatural protection to those you defend. If you are raging and the creature you see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to reduce that damage by 2d6, and that ability gets better over time. This is almost a great frontline support type of path, and that's probably kind of why I like it. I kind of like the ability to be somewhat frontline and somewhat support. So you can still take damage, you can still do some damage right in the front line, but at the same time you can protect your other frontline warriors that are around you. And so this is another reason why I really like this particular path when it comes to barbarians. Level 10. Consult the spirits. At level 10, you gain the ability to consult with your ancestral spirits, and when you do so, you can use augury or clairvoyance spells without using a spell slot or material components. Rather than creating a spherical sensor, the use of clairvoyance invisibility summons one of your ancestral spirits to the chosen location. Wisdom is your spell casting ability for these spells. This is a great role play mechanic. I haven't had many players get to this level using this path. So I've unfortunately I've rarely seen it in complete in action, but I can see where a lot of good role playing can come of using this particular set ability. Then, of course, you have a 14th level. Your ancestral spirits grow powerful enough to retaliate. When you use your spirit shield to reduce the damage of an attack, the attacker takes the amount of force damage that your spirit shield prevents. Another case where your higher level abilities is going to help maintain a lower level ability, and then by 14th level you're reducing damage by 4d6, and now that 4d6 damage is being repelled back against the enemy who hit your friend. Great, perfect support help on a primal barbarian path. So this has always been my favorite out of all of them for in regards to the barbarian. So please, I would love to hear what your favorite barbarian primal path is. Out of the main books, source books, even UA material, whichever one you feel is the best. So please share that with me because I would love to hear what you have to say. Let's look at the Bard. Probably one of the more favored classes because it's so well-rounded. Bards, even with their subclasses, can be put in just about any type of situation, whether it's spell slinging, they can be a support healer, they can be a support frontline combatant. And that's the frontline combatants is kind of my little bit theme today because I'm going to talk about the Valor Bard. Personally, this is one of my favorites, and I'm actually going to be playing a Valor Bard in an upcoming Friends campaign once he has it all set to go. And basically, the College of Valor gives your Bard a little bit more martial ability to be able to survive in the front line and survive against toe-to-toe to an enemy and provide inspiration to other yourself and other frontline attackers to help them do a little bit more damage to the enemies. So once you get this at 3rd level, you gain proficiency in medium armor, shields, and martial weapons. That shield part is going to be most important because if you're going to use this particular class, a lot of times you're not planning on being in the rear shooting arrows type of bard. You're going to be you're going to be more of a melee bard. So getting that shield is going to be important. Now, here's the primary ability: is the combat inspiration. Now, generally, bardic inspiration can be used on attack rolls, saving throws, ability scores, combat inspiration. So once you grant your inspiration to a party member, they can then add your inspiration die to the damage roll. Okay. On another hand, if the person who has the inspiration did not, let's say they didn't hit, so they still have the inspiration, on their reaction they can use that die to roll against its armor class against an attack. All right, so it can use its reaction, roll on the Bardic's inspiration die, and add that number roll to your to its AC. So you still have a chance to use it defensively to possibly bring that AC up, almost like like casting a shield spell. Instead of getting +5 to your armor class, you can possibly get up to a +6. It's still a roll, it's still a chance, but at least you have the chance of then avoiding an attack. So the combat inspiration can help either doing the damage or stopping an attack. At 6th level, Valor Bards get an extra attack where most martial classes get it around level 5. They get it at level 6. So then now you're a bard who's able to attack twice, which I think is great. And then 14, you have the battle magic. At 14th level, you've mastered the art of weaving spellcasting and weapon use into a single harmonious act. When you use your action to cast a bard spell, you can make one weapon attack as a bonus action. At 14th level, you basically turn into a lower level Eldritch Knight. So you can cast a spell, make an attack, cast a spell, make an attack. Again, which kind of fits the class of you being more of a basically like a battle mage in some respects. And this is why I really love the College of Valor. Again, I would love to hear what your if Bard's one of your favorite classes. I want to know what's going on here. Okay, I want to know what your favorite subclass is for the Bard. We have next Clerics. Let's go to Cleric. Now, Clerics don't necessarily have a subclass. Clerics gain their abilities through domains. And the one difference here is that the domain is actually picked at the very beginning of you making the Cleric. And you generally don't see, you see some of your more powerful abilities unlock around 2nd or 3rd level when you start being able to use your Channel Divinity. And your domain is really going to depend upon not only what domain spells you gain, but what type of abilities you get at higher levels. And when it comes to clerics, I actually like 2 domains that were kind of a tie. My first one's the Forge. Now, the Forge, of course, is in any type of game, if there is any type of god of smithing or god of crafting, will probably allow you access, to the Forge domain. First off, you should be a cleric that you can use a heavy armor, and you automatically get smith tools, so you can become more like a tanky frontline cleric. At first level, you gain the ability to imbue magic into weapon or armor. So basically, you can use this feature. Once you use the feature, you can basically give yourself a magic weapon for until the end of your next long rest. Or a piece of armor becomes +1 temporarily. So you can basically temporarily give yourself a magical armor, or magical weapon. Then you start getting at 2nd level. You get your Channel Divinity abilities, along with with most DMs. I allow them always to have the Turn Undead ability. Your domain will give you additional Channel Divinity options that you can use your Channel Divinity for. You get an hour-long ritual that crafts a non-magical item that must include some metal, martial weapons, suit of armor, 10 pieces of ammunition, set of tools. The creation is complete at the end of an hour, coalescing in an unoccupied space of your choice and surface 5 feet in front of you. Basically, you can help create simple items. The thing you create must be something that is no more than 100 gold pieces, and as part of the ritual, you must lay out metal, which may include coins with the value equal to the creation. So if you need a friggin' longsword out of nowhere, you gotta have enough metal and equal the value of a longsword, and poof, in an hour, literally in an hour, you can have yourself a longsword. 6th level, you gain resistance to the fire damage, like you're working on a forge, and when you're wearing heavy armor, you gain +1 bonus to your armor class. Then you have your Divine Strike. At 8th level, you gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes with fiery powers of the Forge. Once one of each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can cause the attack to deal 1d8 fire damage to the target, and that increases to 2d8 when you get to 14th level. And it's level 17, you're blessed affinity with fire, and metal becomes more powerful. You gain immunity the fire damage. Fire just does no longer touches you, which fire is probably one of the more common damage types out there. And while you're wearing heavy armor, you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, and from non-magical attacks. So the forge, and even if its abilities, identify, smearing sight, heat metal, magic weapon, it's a lot of like a mixture of protection and a little bit of offense on top of it, which is why I enjoy that. Again, the theme here, I kind of like the thoughts of having frontline abilities here. The second one is actually the Twilight Domain, which is now been released in Tasha's Cauldron expansion. And I really enjoy mostly just the abilities that you gain in this particular domain. Again, you get access to martial weapons and heavy armor. First level, you can see through the deepest gloom. You have a dark vision range of 300 feet. And you can see in dim light as if it were bright light, and darkness as if it were dim light. As an action, you can actually share the dark vision feature with willing creatures you can see for up to 10 feet, up to a number of creatures equal to your wisdom modifier. I run a lot of games where dark vision and the darkness can be considered a hindrance. So if you don't have dark vision or a torch, you have to be mindful of that. So if you're traveling through the night, and there's a better chance of you getting ambushed if you're not spouting a torch or having a lantern available. Here you go. Vigilant Blessing. At first level, the knight has taught you to be vigilant. As an action, you can give one creature you touch, including possibly yourself, advantage on your next initiative roll of the creature makes. The benefit ends immediately after the roll, or if it's use a feature again. Advantage on an initiative roll helps tremendously if you're looking to be quick and act first before the rest of the crew, or especially any type of enemies. Then you have your channel divinity abilities. As an action, you present your holy symbol, and a sphere of twilight emanates from you. The sphere is centered on you. It has a 30-foot radius and filled with dim light. The sphere moves with you and lasts for 1 minute until you're incapacitated or die. Whenever a creature, including you, ends its turn in the sphere, you grant the creature one of these benefits. You grant its temporary hit points equal to 1d6 plus your cleric level, or you end the effect that causes charmed or frightened. This is a second level. This is actually a great ability. We just literally finished the campaign where the big bad guy caused caused people to be frightened at a very high difficulty chance, and we had a cleric who was part of the Twilight Domain, and it's only, even though it's only a second level channel divinity spell, it really helped because those who became frightened just were not making the proper saving throws because it was a high difficulty. It was like literally the end of our campaign, biggest bad guy, hardest to fight, and for a couple turns this helped us. And even those who were not frightened, that extra temporary hit points, you'd think like, even if it was 10 or 12 extra hit points, that 10 or 12 hit points helped out tremendously in mitigating damage. So this is a wonderful channel divinity option, especially at such a low level. Then you have Steps of the Night. Starting at 6th level, you can draw on mystical powers of the night to rise into the air. Who's that? Who's that? Oh, new follower. Hello, Brendan Byrne. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are talking clerics and cleric domains. Going over a few of my favorite in each category. And if you want to tell me what your favorite class and your favorite subclass is, please leave a comment and we will discuss it. Where was I? Oh yeah, Step of the Night. As a bonus action, when you are in dim light or darkness, you can magically give yourself flying speed equal to your walking speed for a minute. You can use this as a bonus action, number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So it gives you flying ability in the darkness to be able to move around the battlefield very quickly. I guess this would work more during nighttime escapades or in a dungeon, but you would lose this set ability while traveling around during the day. Your Divine Strike. Everybody pretty much gets a Divine Strike. Gain the ability to infuse your weapon with strikes with Divine Energy. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can use the attack to deal an extra 1d8 psychic damage. So they do psychic damage. And then Traveling Shroud, level 17. The Twilight that you summon offers you a protective embrace. You and your allies have half cover while in the sphere created by your Twilight Sanctuary. So it makes the Twilight Sanctuary even more powerful. Our Cleric was not that high, so we never got that ability when we were ending our campaign. All right. Those are my two. Had a tie when it came to Clerics. Couldn't decide which one of the two I really liked more. Some of them are kind of situational, but I decided to just present both of them. And now we're going to go ahead and move on to Druid. In all honesty, I never really cared much for playing a Druid. I never have played a Druid. I've used a lot of Druids as like NPCs since I DM more than I play. But I had a chance to one of our in a group that I actually do play in. I had a chance to see a Wildfire Druid in action. This was actually even before it became kind of official. And looking through the rest of seeing him in action, looking through some of the rest of the abilities of other Druids, I found that this would probably be the one Druid I would probably concern to play because it changes their wild shape ability. It doesn't change it, but you can use your wild shape ability to summon a wildfire spirit. And this wildfire spirit did a lot, and it was extremely helpful in combat. Excuse me. To where our druid was able to use the wildfire spirit to help cause some damage, even cast spells through it. On top of having the ability to have a lot of fire-based abilities, also the ability to cure. Sometimes we got into situations where we were fighting creatures that were, immune or resistant to fire, and that would cause a little bit of a backfire. But there's even though fire abilities were their primary, there's still they still have access to other types of spells, to help. So I felt it was a very versatile type of subclass for the druid. The wildfire spirit, every time you use your wild shape feature, you summon this. That's when you summon the spirit. When it appears, any creatures within 10 feet other than the spirit, they have to succeed on its dexterity saving throw or take 2d6 fire damage. So you're getting that's damaging right off the bat. They stay for an hour until reduced to 0 hit points. They have its own little stat block here. They're immune to fire, immune to charmed, frightened, grapple, prone, and resistance. They have dark vision. And they have the ability to do a range attack, the Flame Seed, which does 1d6 plus fire damage. And they have the ability to fiery teleport, which they can actually save your butt. The spirit of each willing creature of your choice within 5 feet of it teleport up to 15 feet to an occupied space you can see. Each creature within 5 feet of the space that the spirit left must succeed in a dexterity saving throw against your spell save or take 1d6 plus the creature's fire damage. So literally, you can use your own creature to pull someone out of combat, get them out, and then cause fire damage on their way out. The enhanced bond, when you cast a spell that deals fire damage or restores hit points, your wildfire while your wildfire while your wildfire spirit is summoned, roll a d8 and you gain a bonus equal to the number rolled to 1 damage or healing roll of spell. So enhanced bond increases spell damage, increases curing, as long as your wildfire spirit is out. That's awesome. Cauterizing Flames. The 10th flame begins the ability to turn death into magical flames that you can heal or incinerate. When a small or large creature dies within 30 feet of you or your Wildfire Spirit, a harmless spectral flame springs forth in the dead creature's space and flickers for 1 minute. When a creature you see enters the space, you can use your reaction to extinguish the spectral flame there and either heal the creature or deal fire damage to it. The healing or damage equals 2d10 plus your wisdom modifier. In big battles, the healing part of this was great, because if it was on the battlefield, we can kind of walk through it. Our druid would give you a quick heal, and you can just continue going after the enemy, and it helped so much. I don't know if I've ever seen it for damage wise, because you got to walk through it, but it definitely helps on the healing point. We didn't get the 14th level in our campaigns. I never seen this ability, but at 14th level, the bond with your Wildfire Spirit can save you from death. If the spirit is within 120 feet of you when you reduce to 0 hit points, thereby falling unconscious, you can use the spirit to drop to 0 hit points. You regain half your hit points and immediately rise to your feet. It's once per long rest. You basically sacrifice your spirit, get half your hit points back. If you fell in battle, how much more can you ask about that? So all in all, excuse me, I feel that this is probably one of the better mechanically inclined druid circles, and sounds to me like it's like the most fun. So if I ever decide to play a druid, I think that would be the type of druid I would choose. And again, please, if you are a fan of druids, you let me know. I want to know what your favorite subclass and when it comes to playing a druid. Now we come to fighters. I don't see many people actually just playing straight fighters anymore. A lot of people, I think, go Barbarian, or a lot of people go Warlock and like a Martial Warlock. But sometimes I like just having a straight in-your-face fighter. And honestly, my favorite subclass is the Battlemaster. Now, the Battlemaster, I think, and I've talked to people, I said they feel that sometimes it could be a little overwhelming because of how their maneuvers work and how combat superiority works. But I feel it allows you to really specialize you can have a fighter as a Battlemaster be complete damage dealer. You can have them play support. You can have them be more defensive. So picking gives you a wide array of maneuvers to pick to really specialize in what you envision your character to be. First off, you get combat superiority. This is fueled by superiority dice. You learn 3 maneuvers to enhance your attack, and you can only use 1 maneuver per attack. You learn 2 additional maneuvers at 7, 10, and 15, and each time you learn a new maneuver, you can also replace 1 maneuver with a different one. Then you have 4 superiority dice, and each one of them is an additional D8. You regain your superiority dice on a short or long rest, and you get another one at 7, so you have 5, and then another one at 15. So at max you'll have 6. Some abilities require saving throws, so it's 8 plus your proficiency modifier plus your dex or strength modifier, your choice. If you're a dex warrior, so that allows you to even choose, because you can be a dex warrior or a strength warrior. So at 3rd level, you gain the superiority dice, 3 maneuvers, and a artisan tool of your choice. We're going to go right into the maneuvers in a moment, but I need to just run AFK for just a second. I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. We are back. Sorry about that. I had to just take a get away from the computer just a brief moment here. So we're going to come back into looking over some of the battle master maneuvers. I'm not going to go over all of them, but there are a decent amount. And when you first get to select this class, you get 3 of these, and more as you gain higher levels. Like here, ambush. When you make a dexterity stealth check or an initiative roll, you can spend a superiority die and add that die to the roll, provided you aren't incapacitated. Even the initiative roll. So you can roll d20 plus an extra d8 and get a high upper on the initiative count. That's awesome. Which other ones do I like here? Here we go. You need a creature with a weapon attack. You can spend 1 superiority die to distract the creature, giving your allies an opening. You add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll. The next attack roll against a creature by an attacker other than you has advantage if the attack is made before the start of the next turn, helping out your friends. You got... Where's the first one? There's another one here that I liked, and I cannot find it. And here you go, lunging attack. When you make a melee weapon attack on your turn, you can expend 1 superiority die to increase your reach by 5 feet. If you hit, you add the superiority die to the attack's damage roll. This could even be great if you want to do like a pole, make like a polearm mask. You already have 10, you already have 10 feet and an extra 5 feet to that, then an extra d8 worth of damage. You could be doing a lot of extra damage here. And then of course you have your parry. Another creature damage and melee attack, you can use your reaction to expend 1 superior die to reduce the damage by the number you roll on your superior die, plus your dex modifier. So if you are more of a dexterity-based fighter, this is perfect. You're reducing damage. Sometimes you can probably reduce the damage to nearly nothing by using your superiority die. So there is a number of different abilities you can use that can either do straight damage, help support allies in combat, or help make you more of a defensive type character. So love the idea of the Battle Master just because it is a versatile class. 7th level, know your enemy. If you spend at least 1 minute observing or interacting with another creature outside of combat, you can learn certain information about its capabilities compared to your own. The DM tells you if the creature is your equal, superior, or inferior in regarding to 2 of the following characteristics of choice. There you go. So you have your list right here: strength, dex, con, armor, current hit points, total class level, or fighter levels, if any. Also, at 10th level, your superior die turns into D10s, and then a D8 to turn into D12s. Big differences. Starting 15th level, when you roll initiative and have no superiority dice remaining, you regain 1. So if you use it all, next time you combat, you always gain 1 back. So at max levels, you always have the ability to have some sort of superiority die there and ready to go. So yes, the Battlemaster, in regards to fighter subclasses, is my favorite out of the subclasses. And if you like to play fighters, please let me know what you feel is your favorite subclass in the fighter list. Even from any of the books, whatever class you like the most. Now, let's take a look at the monk. The monk, again, very versatile character, has a lot of special abilities and special uses with their key powers. But when it comes to their subclasses, I actually prefer the Kensai. Even the term Kensai is like usually a weapon or sword master. So it's a monk who really specializes in their traditions, martial weapons, probably more so than even their unarmed combat. So they gain the benefits of the Kensai weapon. You can choose 2 types of weapons to be your Kensai weapons: 1 melee and 1 ranged. All right. When you reach 6th, 11th, and 17th level in the class, you can choose another type of weapon, either melee or ranged, to be Kensai weapons for you. They gain an agile parry, so if you have your Kensai weapon in hand while you make an unarmed strike, You gain a +2 bonus to your armor class at the start of your next turn while your weapon is in hand and you aren't incapacitated, so it even increases your ability to not be hit, which is already pretty profound for most monks. Kensai Shot. You can use a bonus action to turn or to make your to on your turn to make your range attacks with a Kensai weapon more deadly. When you do so, any target you hit with the ranged attack of the Kensai weapon takes an extra D4 damage of the weapon's type. You retain this benefit to the end of the current turn. I find this okay. The only problem with it doesn't really scale much. It's still D4, but it's any extra damage is acceptable, especially even at a range attack, because your bonus action key points, you're either going to probably maybe do a dash or do a defense. At least in this case, if you just want to do an extra D4 damage, because you can't do like a flurry of blows type of deal range, so at least get an extra D4. Why not? And then you get calligraphy supplies and painter supplies. 6th level, your Kensei weapons basically count as magical items for overcoming resistances, just like your fist would. Then you have your Deft Strike. When you hit a target with a Kensei weapon, you can spend 1 key point to cause the weapon to deal extra damage to the target equal to your martial arts die. You can then use this feature only once each of your turns. So that's any Kensei, whether it's ranged or up front. You just basically hitting them with the weapon plus your unarmed strike damage, which you can't really say no to that. You gain the ability to augment your weapons to further your ki. As a bonus action, you can expend up to 3 key points to grant one Kensei weapon you touch a bonus to attack and damage when you attack with it. The bonus equals the number of key points you spend. The bonus lasts for 1 minute or until you use this feature again. This feature has no effect on magic weapons that already has a bonus to attack and damage rolls. It's kind of a weird one. So it's like you can take a mundane weapon and you can make it a +3 weapon by spending 3 key points. But if it's already magical, doesn't matter the bonus. The way I read it, you can't give it or stack the magical bonus on top of it. So that 11th level ability I've always been kind of about, but I guess it could be situational if you don't have a weapon or if you need to use an improvised weapon last minute. All of a sudden, boom, you can just pump pump into it, and you have yourself a +3 magical weapon almost at any time for at least a minute. And then the last, unearning accuracy. At 17th level, your mastery of weapons grants you extraordinary accuracy. If you miss with an attack roll using a monk weapon on your turn, you can re-roll it. You can use this feature only once on each of your turns. There's not even a cooldown for it. There's no spending on it. Just once each of your turns, you can basically re-roll an attack. How much better can you get with that? So monks, being probably one of the more versatile classes, very close to bards, but of course they're more frontlined. Kensai is my favorite out of all of these. I would have to literally give a. Oh, thank you so much, Nick. Thank you so much for stopping by, buddy. I hope your holidays went well. Mine were very small, very quick, with just a small amount of family. I do hope everything was good with you, and I thank you so much for stopping by, my friend. Today I'm going over some of my favorite subclasses, and of course, if you want to chime in and tell me what your favorite class and or subclass is, be my guest. I would love to see what the audience, how the audience is, or what the audience's thoughts are on their classes and subclasses. I'm getting a little tongue-tied today. But yeah, so Drunken Master for monks is probably a very close second when it comes to my favorite monastic traditions. I'm going to talk the Paladin. The Paladin takes oaths. And when they make their oath, they have to follow the tenets of their oath or become an oath breaker, which is kind of just like a bad boy Paladin. And the one oath that I like the best, and mostly just mechanics-wise, is the Oath of Conquest. Now, this is one of those oaths that, if you read the way it's written, it's almost like it's probably designed more for like a kind of like a bad cleric. 'Cause it's like it's all it's strength above all, rule with an iron fist, which is not your typical cleric. But I just really like the abilities that come with an Oath of Conquest paladin. Even their abilities: hold person, command, armor, armor of Agathes, all great. Even low level spells: bestow cursed, fear, dominate beast. Love it all. And when you take the oath, I love the channeling divinity options. Conquering presence. You can use your channel divinity to execute a terrifying presence as an action. You force each creature of your choice that you can see within 30 feet to make a wisdom save. On fail, they become frightened for a minute. They got to constantly run after you or run away from you. Then guided strike. You can use your channel divinity to strike with supernatural accuracy. When you make an attack roll, you can use your channel divinity to gain plus 10 bonus to the roll. You make this choice after you see the roll, but before the DM says whether the attack hits or misses. So this is great if you roll really low. Even if you roll like a 7, but chances are, if you know a 17 is gonna beat the armor class, boom, you hit. Especially in a dire situation, if you're so close to killing your prey, and then you want to get that last hit in. Perfect. Plus 10 on any attack roll. I think you're going to be able to hit anything you want, and it just costs one of your channel divinities. Aura of Conquest at 7th level. You consistently emanate a menacing aura while you're not incapacitated. The aura extends 10 feet from you in every direction, but not through total cover. If a creature is frightened of you, its speed is reduced to 0 in the aura, and that creature takes psychic damage equal to half your paladin level if you start its turn there. So combined with conquering presence, you're basically locking them down, those who fail the saving throw, and causing damage on top of it. Mr. Darling, my friend, long time no see. Your favorite class per 5e cleric post 5e divine soul sorcerers are amazingly useful. That's actually when I get to the sorcerer point, I was going to say the exact same thing. I actually agree with you. Divine sorcerers are my favorite. And actually, funny you mentioned that here. We'll go ahead and skip ahead to the divine sorcerer. I always liked the idea of that, with sorcerers, them having magical ability that stems from somewhere. Sometimes it could be considered unknown, wild, whatever it may be. I like the thought of having a sorcerer connected to some sort of divine being. And or even an infernal being, like it's, even though they, if because you can be, it goes by your alignment. You can have, like, you start for cure wounds or inflict wounds, or bless or bane. So having that dichotomy is a great role playing mechanic, and I think a great idea for a character, because you can be. I actually had a character play a divine soul in one of my campaigns, because you gain the ability to not only use sorcerer spells, but you can take spells from the cleric spell list as well. You can go both ways. You can be support healer, and even do a little bit of magical damage, and be and support on DPS or enchanting. So you can go either which way with it, which I think is great. So favored by the gods. If you fail a saving throw or miss an attack roll, you can add 2d4 and add it to the total, possibly changing the outcome. And you can use this once per short or long rest. Perfect, for having your divinity come into the gameplay and change the outcome. Empowered healing, starting 6th level, the divine energy coursing through you can empower healing spells. Whenever you're an ally within 5 feet of you, roll dice to determine the number of hit points the spell restores. You can spend 1 sorcery point to reroll any number of those dice once, provided you aren't incapacitated. You can use this feature only once per turn. And that's even an ally can help. So if you already have a cleric who's a primary healer in your group, and he's healing somebody, and you're within 5 feet, and they roll double ones on a healing spell, boom, your sorcerer can pop in and even help supplement the healer that's already there. Angelic form, starting at 14th level, you can use your bonus action manifest a pair of spectral wings from your back. While the wings are present, you have a flying speed of 30. The wings last until you're incapacitated, you die, or you dismiss them as a bonus action. The affinity you choose, your divine magic determines the appearance of spectral wings. Eagle wings for good or law, bat wings for evil or chaos, and dragonfly wings for neutrality. I don't know about the dragonfly wings part, but all of a sudden you can fly. Cool. Unearthly recovery. At 18th level, you gain the ability to overcome grievous injuries. As a bonus action, you can have fewer than half of your hit points remaining. You regain a number of hit points equal to half your hit point maximum. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Nothing else more to say there. You basically help keeping yourself alive. So Bruce, my friend, I definitely agree that uh, probably one of the more useful, probably one of the cooler, even RP opportunity type of clerics, not clerics, sorcerers that you can play, because like divine souls, they might not ever really understand. Most sorcerers, that's kind of how you role play. You have natural abilities. Sometimes you don't know where they come from or how to control them. And in this case, it's divine, or if you're evil, infernal. And maybe somewhere down the line, as part of the story, the character eventually finds out the source of their power. So it has great role play potential and story potential as well. So I agree with you. Favorite sorcerer subclass is Divine Soul. Now I'm going to move over to the Ranger, the one class that probably in any type of forum or discussion I have had, they say is probably one of the most underpowered classes. I don't know if I completely and utterly agree with them. I've made some concessions with some of the Ranger classes, especially Beastmaster, where, for example, I allow the Beastmaster, instead of using their whole action to command their beast to, quote, attack, I allow them to do that as a bonus action. So it's like they can, your ranger can still do something and then tell tell the beast, go attack him, and I'm going to go shoot my bow at this guy. So they don't, they don't have to wait before they get two attacks to waste one of them on, commanding their beasts. So, but I, I've seen some people play rangers and they work perfectly fine. With fighting styles that they get, they can be a frontline warrior if you so want them to be, and still be able to use their spells. So I don't think they're as underpowered as a lot of people believe. I really think that people just they just don't play them right. In my opinion. And out of all the subclasses, I actually like the Monster Slayer Conclave. So at third level, you learn an additional spell um, as part of their class. I don't know why at fifth level they get Zone of Truth. To be completely honest with you, maybe if the roleplay mechanic is interrogating a monster or something along those lines, who knows? We get an extra spell at 3rd, 5th, 9th, 13th, and 17th. Third level, you gain the ability to peer at a creature and magically discern how best to hurt it. As an action, you choose one creature you can see in 60 feet. You immediately learn whether the creature has any damage immunities, resistances, vulnerabilities, and what they are. If the creature is hidden from magic divination, you can sense that it has you sense that it has no damage immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom score, a minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses of it when you finish a long rest. I think that's a great ability for any type of ranger, any type of character to discern some of his weaknesses. Slayers, Prey. Starting at third level, you can focus your ire on a foe, increasing the harm you inflict on it. As a bonus action, designate one creature you can see within 60 feet of you as a target of this feature. The first time each turn that you hit the target with a weapon attack, you deal an extra d6 damage from the weapon. This benefit lasts until you finish a short or long rest. It ends early if you designate a different creature. Well, there you go. An extra d6 points of damage to the target until it's dead. It's almost like a free hunter's mark. 7th level, you gain extra resilience against your prey's assaults on your mind and body. Whenever the target of the Slayer's prey forces you to make a saving throw, and whether you make the ability check to escape the target's grapple, add d6 to your roll. Extra d6 on a saving throw or on grapple, I'll take it. Sometimes, a lot of times, I see that I find I fail saving throws only by a few numbers. That d6 could save your life. Magic User's Nemesis. At 11th level, you gain the ability to thwart someone else's magic. You can see a creature casting a spell or teleporting within 60 feet of you. You can use your reaction to magically foil it. It's like what? It's like a free counter spell almost. The creature must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw. Get your spell save DC, or spell or teleport fails and is wasted. Once you use this feat, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. That's basically what it is. It's almost a free counter spell at your disposal. And if you're at 11th level, I'm sure you're fighting a lot of creatures that are casting innate spells or being able to move around. So I think that's an extremely useful ability for a ranger. Slayer's Counter. At 15th level, you gain the ability to counterattack when your prey tries to sabotage you. If the target of your Slayer's prey forces you to make a saving throw, you can use your reaction to make one weapon attack against the quarry. You make the attack immediately before making the saving throw, and if the attack hits, your save automatically succeeds. In addition, to the attack's normal effects. Again, how great is that? And if at this level, you're going to get a spell cast against you, and you get a chance to hit them, and then you automatically pass the save. To me, you can't beat something like that. So this is why I feel that this is probably my favorite Ranger subclass. Also, in a roleplay sense, being just thinking being a monster slayer, you're just a character who roves around trying to find the most fierce monsters in the realm and trying to take them down, learn more about them, and make a name for yourself. Just sounds like an awesome type of background or a character that I would actually want to play. That's another reason why I like that subclass. All right. Let's talk the Rogue. Again, Rogue, a very versatile class. They have a lot of different types of subclasses. The only one that I particularly really like is the Swashbuckler. Now, I consider the Rogue Swashbuckler probably like the best class to play for like a pirate. I think it fits that type of framework perfectly. So at 3rd level, fancy footwork, you learn how to land and strike, then slip away without reprisal. During your turn, if you make a melee attack against a creature, that creature can't make opportunity attacks against you for the rest of the turn. You're basically getting the mobile feat without getting the extra speed with this, and mobile feat's one of my favorites. So you can basically hit and run attacks if you save your speed, or even have you have your cunning action bonus actions for being a rogue with the additional dashing. You can run in, attack, run away. They can't even hit you. Just hit and runs wherever you go. Love that type of mentality. Rakish Audacity. Your confidence propels you into battle. You can give yourself a bonus to your initiative equal to your charisma modifier. Bonus to initiative again. If you already have, if you're going to play like a Dex charisma rogue, that you can have almost at that level, you can literally have probably on average +4 to possibly +6 extra to your initiative score. That's a lot. Once again, the additional ways to use your sneak attack. You do not need advantage on attack rolls to use your sneak attack against a creature if you're within 5 feet of it. No other creatures are within 5 feet of it, and you don't have disadvantage on the attack roll. All of the rules for sneak attack still apply. So you can be right up in front. Don't need to have a buddy near you, and you're still getting your sneak attack. Extra d6, 2d6, whatever, depending upon your level. Again, in my opinion, can't beat that. Panache. 9th level, your charm becomes extraordinary beguiling. As an action, you can make a charisma persuasion check contested by a wisdom insight check. The creature must be able to heal you, and 2 of you must share the language. If you succeed, the creature is hostile to you, it has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you, and you can't make opportunity attacks against targets other than you. Lasts for a minute. until one of your companions attacks attacks the target or affects it with a spell, or until the target is more than 60 feet apart. I'm literally thinking like almost like Captain Jack Sparrow had just in the middle while you're in the middle of fight and you freaking start talking to the damn thing, goading the enemy, and it just makes it want to hit you and beat you up more, but it's still saving the rest of your party. If you succeed on the check and the creature isn't hostile to you, it's charmed by you for 1 minute. While charmed, it regards you as a friendly acquaintance. This effect ends immediately if your companions do anything harmful to it. There you go. So you can use this particular social interaction in or outside of combat. Elegant Maneuver. Starting at 13th level, you can use a bonus action on your turn to gain advantage on the next dexterity, acrobatic, or strength check made during the same turn. Cool. Beginning at 17th level, your Mastery of the Blades lets you turn failure into success in combat. If you miss with an attack roll, you can roll it again with advantage. Once you do so, you can't use this feature again until you finish a short or long rest. There you go, Master Duelist. So, Rogue, Swashbuckler. I was almost playing it like classic, pirate type. I think that's one of the best classes in the Rogue category. And what do we got here? Now let's check out the Warlock. Now, in all honesty, I'm not a big fan of the Warlock. I know a lot of people like them. And I feel that the magical abilities of a Warlock are too limited. But if I had to play one, I'd probably go with the Hexblade. Probably one of the more common ones, especially if you go with oh god, I'm forgetting their paths now. I'm an idiot. Where is it? The Pact of the Blade. So Hexblade with Pact of the Blade is probably going to be the only type of Warlock I would probably play, and it's a little cliche because again, most people play this particular class. But for me, it's like I feel like because the Warlock has such they can have a bunch of a bunch of spells, but they're only casting. You only get a very few amount of slots, and even with their their Eldritch Invocations, you can make a pretty good support frontline-ish type character, and still have the ability to use your some spells, but with your magical weapon. Then you have your Hexblade's Curse, which you get at first level. You choose one creature you can see within 30 feet. The target is cursed for 1 minute. The curse ends early. If the target dies, you die or incapacitated. Until the curse, you gain the following benefits. Bonus to damage rolls against the creature equals your proficiency bonus. You crit on a 19 or 20. If the target dies, you gain hit points equal to your Warlock level plus your Charisma modifier. Great for, again, frontline warrior, Hexblade warrior. First level, you acquire the training necessary to effectively arm yourself. You gain proficiency, medium armor, shields, and martial weapons. Influence of your patron also allows you to mystically channel your will through a particular weapon. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can touch one weapon that you're proficient with and lacks the two-handed property. Only one-handed one-handed weapons only. When you act with the weapon, you can use your charisma modifier instead of strength or dexterity for attack and damage rolls. This benefit lasts until you finish a long rest. If you later gain Pact of the Blade feature, this benefit extends to your Pact weapon you conjure with that feature, no matter the weapon type. See, this pretty much Hexblade is made for for Pact of the Blade. Starting at 6th level, you can curse the soul of a person you slay, temporarily binding it to your service. When you slay a humanoid, you cause its spirit to rise from the corpse as a specter. When the specter appears, it gains temporary hit points equal to half your Warlock level. Roll initiative for the specter, which has its own turns. It obeys your verbal commands, and it gains special bonus to attack rolls equal to your Charisma fire, minimum 0. The specter remains in your service until the end of your next long rest, at which point it vanishes to the afterlife. Once you bind a specter with this feature, you can't use the feature again until you finish a long rest. Extra piece on the battlefield, I guess. Armor of Hexes. Your hex grows more powerful. If the target cursed by your Hexblade's curse hits you with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to roll a d6. On a 4 or higher, the attack instead misses you regardless of its roll. Not bad. Turns into a 50% chance of them missing. And then finally, a 14th level Master of Hexes. Starting at 14th level, you can spread your Hexblade's curse from a slain creature to another creature. When the creature cursed by your Hexblade's curse dies, you can then apply the curse to a different creature you can see within 30 feet of you, provided you aren't incapacitated. When you apply the curse in this way, you don't regain hit points in the death of the previously cursed creature. So it's almost like getting a free hex, but you don't get the what's what I'm looking for. You don't get the additional hit points when you kill the creature. So yeah, quick on the Warlock. And again, they're not one of my favorite. They're not one of my favorite classes. I like the idea of them. I just think they should be more stronger spellcasters, weaker weaker when it comes to using martial weapons and stuff. That's just my personal experience with them. And we're going to come to the final class of the evening, which is the Wizard. In all honesty, I do not see many people playing straight Wizards anymore. Most people play Warlocks, Sorcerers, or combinations of both through multi-classing. I do not see a lot of people play straight Wizards anymore, and it's kind of sad. Because I feel that they are still very, very powerful. Can be very, very powerful, especially at higher levels with the amount of spells that they can become privy to. And my favored class here is actually Abjuration. I like playing defense when it comes to wizards, and I like that when the arcane wards. Starting at second level, you can weave magic around yourself for protection. When you cast an aberration spell at first level or higher, you can simultaneously use a strand of the spell's magic, create a magical ward on yourself that lasts until you finish a long rest. The ward has hit points equal to twice your wizard level plus your intelligence modifier. Whenever you take damage, the ward takes the damage instead. If the damage reduces 0, you take the remaining. While the ward has 0 hit points, it can absorb damage, but its magic remains. Whenever you cast an Abjuration spell at first level or higher, the ward regains a number of hit points equal to twice the spell level. When you create the ward, you can't recreate again until you finish a long rest. It's an extra shield. Low levels, you barely have any hit points. That's a game changer. 6th level, projected ward. When your creature that you see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to cause your arcane warp to absorb that damage. If the damage of the ward is 0 hit points, the warded creature takes any remaining damage. So you can even use it on your friends by 6th level. Improved Abjuration. 10th level, when you cast an Abjuration spell that requires you to make an ability check as part of casting the spell, as in counterspell, dispel magic, you can add your proficiency bonus to the check. Perfect. And spell resist. Starting 14th level, you have advantage on saving throws against spells. Furthermore, you have a resistance against the damage of spells. So spells, you're taking half damage from spells. How much more can you ask on that? So you literally become a magic tank. So you want to take all, when you want to just take on all the enemy spellcasters, every single one of them, and you're able to protect you and your friends from all sorts of types of damage. So I think the Abjuration School has some of the best. I will give a second thought to Evocation, because we'll just go into that really quick, because they would be number 2, primarily because of, let's see, Sculpt spells, pockets of safety. Because one of the biggest complaints you'll hear of people, especially who do like Evocation and who love their fireballs, is that they can't use their fireballs because they got their fighters up there fighting everybody. But with a specialty in Sculpt spells, you can create safe spots. So you can choose a number of creatures equal to 1 plus the spell's level. The chosen creatures automatically succeed on their saving throw against the spell, and they take no damage if they would normally take half damage on a successful save. So guess what? You can shoot your fireball, still have at that level you're what? At least level 5, so you can have 5, and the spell level's 3, so you can have 4 friendlies in the radius of the fireball, and they'll take no damage, but everybody else would take damage. And you can use it at any time you want. It's not. It doesn't recharge. It's not not a short rest recharge, and a long rest recharge. You just know how to sculpt the spell to allow those 4 people, up to 4 people, if it's your fireball, to be safe. So no more complaining that you picked a sorcerer who can't use his fireball, or the wildfire druid who can't use his fireball, but the evocation wizard can still use his fireball. It doesn't matter how many friendlies are up in the, well, again, up to 4, but most likely you just try to maybe warn one of your buddies to stay back, and the rest that they'll be nice and safe. So that's pretty much it. So please, if you haven't spoken up already, I would love to hear who or what is your favorite class, and what is your favorite subclass. If you have more than one, please leave a comment, and we can, I would love to hear what the rest of my viewers here enjoy to play, and what their favorite subclasses are. But that's all I have for you for today. I might not. I'm probably not gonna do another stream during the week, because it is still a holiday week, with New Year's Eve coming up and New Year's Day. I'm gonna be might be a little bit busy, so I probably won't have another during the week stream. So I might not be streaming until next Sunday. I have not decided, but for those who following, you will see my updates on the page very soon. But I want to thank you all for all your time. Have yourselves, if I don't talk to you, have yourselves a wonderful new year, and peace.